All right, guys, time for a little pre-market trade. There is a 1 minute gap on the ES with this crazy manipulated mover here up. Again, we don't have any data, so this is going to be a really good technical analysis play. So we don't have anything going on today besides like mortgage applications and international trade goods at 7:30. Nothing that crazy at all. So no big movers and no Fed speaks till at least 11 a.m. Central. No, is it 11 and 10 a.m. Central? Cougar comes on, then Collins, Thomas Barkin, a whole bunch of other people at the end, and then consumer credit pretty much at close. No big data till Thursday, Friday. So right now we got a big old gap right here on the 1 minute. And those tentatively fill same day, especially on futures. So we had this huge algo buy up, and algo buys are something that pins the price action right above the 10 SMA like this. Never lets it go. It's complete algo buy up. Finally finds a top. We'll see. 5K is pretty close. That's within 10 points, but big psychological half whole dollar. But with this gap open right here, I'm assuming we're going to start the turnaround up here quite soon. So I did start short right here, and we took on a couple nice little contracts here just on the ES. And again, ES has the better trade between NQ, so you should be versatile, always be able to hop between NQ, ES, MNQ, depending on your trade setups. That is the best risk management. Now ES has the gap, NQ has no gaps, so obviously ES is the better choice here. On the come down, we are overextended on the VWAPs massively right here. So if you bring over the futures right here, we are way above deviation 2+ on the VWAPs and super far away from volume area high. So what I like to do, this is my favorite trade on extensions. I wait for these big extensions to roast way up over the standard deviation 2, right? Then we wait for that divergence to play out like this, double tapping, ramping down, and then we get some fat candles all the way down back to volume area high. Now, volume area high is target number 1. We actually have a gap rate at 4,973.50. So that gap has to fill same day. This is a standard algorithm program. So we actually have, I hate saying guaranteed, but we have a free trade, 14 points to the downside here. So as we slowly get into our britches here for the trade, we got one 10 SMA loop to worry about. And a 10 SMA loop is a program in the algos where it'll pop up and it'll do a scan buy like this. This is an algo controlled buy. This is a manipulation buy. The algos take control. They run it up like this, and there is nothing you can do about it. And when the first break under the 10 SMA happens, which is happening right now, we'll talk this whole trade out easy. We have this availability to break the 10 and loop it. It loops back around, right? And then this right here is the confirmational short, which I'm in a little bit early. So I've seen some loop action right here, but no big deal at all. And this is usually the exhaustion loop. So if we get a little bit of loop, you'll loop it. You'll push back up to the lower high. And you'll cut it back down. It may be a double top at worst case scenario, best case scenario, but busts into like another little high exhaustion and then slams down. We like those, but those two scenarios will be playing out here. Regardless, we will be filling back down here, and that is the trade plan. Stop out would be above 5K for me. Nice wide stop out as we have tons of cushion here. So average right here is like 4986.75 or so. And we're going to look to just literally wipe the floor with these moving averages. If you are looking for a confirmational trade, this is how you would play it. You would wait for these RSIs like this to bust back down. I use TOS. I don't trust trade evades as much, but you can see TOS is here. The loop is happening right now in ES, right? So you're going to see there's no 10 SMA on this chart, but it's going to come up like this. And it's going to loop. It's going to come back up. You're going to find support at the 50 RSI. That's what's going to cause this little loop. And you're going to short the lower high. So it's going to go high of 4889.50. You're going to loop the 10 SMA. You're going to create a double top lower high scenario to come down to volume area high and or 100 EMA and then down to the gap. So target 1, target 2. We should take a little picture of that for Twitter, get our followers all caught up. Oh no, I deleted. There we go. All right, so target 1, target 2, volume area high on the way down. So let's get this back over here. And with the 50 RSI, this is where we're going to get our temporary support. Loops underneath, pushes back up. This is where you're going to add to those shorts. And you're going to see that fall all the way back down. It's going to be a fancy one. But yeah, the reset on the 1 minute just has to happen over and over again. So there's the loop, just as expected. Always, always, always. Okay, let's post down the old X down here. All right, so there's the loop, pops back up to the lower high, and then now we can get the scenario started for the short. I like to fill around here, like the double top and lower high area, another contract maybe. I never go max contracts, I usually go about 80%. So if I'm allowed 14, 15 contracts, I think it is something like that. I'll never go over 8 to 10.
Order filled.
There we go. And again, best case scenario here is to kind of push back up and give us some better entries for the last couple contracts we can get. We only got 5 right now. So a 10 SMA loop and swoop, and that's going to cause something like this right here. And then we're going to get some excited downside measure press back up. And again, best case scenario would be an exhaustion push to like a fresh high, then it traps the longs. So the algo program is set to do this, right? And give you this huge buy up range. And it's like, oh my goodness, look at this huge move. And then the slightest bit of pullback under the 10 SMA, we call this a 10 SMA loop algo. And when this happens, it traps the longs a high percentage of the time. It comes back down, pushes, they buy the breakout right here, and it gets stuffed by, like that. Just to, sometimes it hits a little bit of a high, 4991, 4992, then it gets stuffed. But, yeah, average 86, some change there. What are we at right now? 89. So, yep, lower high double top scenario should play out here pretty nice. We had the RSI support on the ES, like we said, it was going to cause the bounce. So we've seen that coming from a mile away right here, 50 RSI on the 1 minute chart. So that is a halfway point. Obviously between 70 and 30, we run 50. Then we watch that. Still highly extended here in Qs and ES being the better trader. And you can tell, and this is why you need to be able to be versatile. You need to be able to swap contracts from ES to NQ, MNQ for your grade A, B, C, and D trades. You got to be versatile. You cannot just stick to one contract over and over. That would lock you into very poor risk management, not giving you a lot of options to navigate this risk. So now lower high is forming. We got the RSI down. We need the RSI and indicators to reset to the downside. Now Qs has a little bit more downside, but we have the algo gap right here on ES. That's why ES is picked as a little bit of the better trade at the moment. So as this thing slowly plays out here, we'll kind of come back to it. I might stop the recording here and chop some of this together so we don't just sit here and stare at this for an hour. So I'll cut the recording for now, hop back on in a second. All right, guys, just popping back on the video real quick here because I wanted to cover this, the little split, and this is exactly what we said would happen. It's going to come back up highs. It's going to loop the 10 SMA. It's going to be a lower high double top scenario or push up, trap longs, right? Because it's going to look like a breakout and then slam them down. Then it's going to chop fest, slowly start the trend down. And you can see all the divergence here on the RSI, showing you that the top is going to be coming. And we can look at the TOSs here. This one just needs to actually break through the 50 and get going. The only worst case scenario on a trade like this is where it squeezes out to a half whole psychological dollar. So it uses the 10 SMA loop to boost it and really scam. And that's if it wants to go to 5K. And then your short is 10 points away yet. So again, I would use a stop out of 5K and manage my trade plus minus 10 points here. Plus my 8-10 points. We're not going to have to do that one here, I don't think. Right now we have, we have buy-ups on the 1 minute, but again, we've been extended over the volume area high and very manipulatively scam pushing up on every single candle here. And we're surrounded by, again, it's the exact same thing as yesterday's pre-market. There's absolutely zero reason to come up. So we're just waiting for the absolute time for the market to roll back over for confirmation. So right now we're going to get scammed out here because of this candle. So we had the perfect high extension, right? Like this, so a fresh high, and then what that fresh high does is it appears to be a breakout over highs, and then they slam it down, and then they start the chop, and it kind of scams back and forth a little bit. It chops both ways, but inevitably we have to come back down here, regardless of where it ends up at the top, because picking tops is for suckers. Don't do that. Pick confirmational trades only. So if you were to just short something up here because the RSI was hot, That's not confirmation. You short here because the RSI was hot. That's not confirmation. You short here. You have to wait for an algo system to come in. You got blown out if you were shorting here on the RSI, here on the RSI, here on the RSI. It just algo bought up, right? But here at Trade Garage and BRT, we know a lot about algorithms, and these algorithms that play out these patterns like this generally go over and over and over again the same. So I just want to make it a point where best case scenario, like I said, was going to be 10 SMA loop under price action, push to highs, trap longs the next consolidation, and still have a chance to come down. Now, we will fill this. It's not if, it's when, right? And if it wants to go to 5K before it does so, so be it. That's fine. It can melt all the way up to 5K and plus some, and I'll short it back then. We're going to get a monster option short on this today. I'm going to start buying in right now on some ES puts, and I'll add in all the way up to 5K plus for the next week or so, because this gap is going to fill inevitably. So it's going to be a big one. So I'll cut it here and wait for the roll. All right, guys, still rocking the same trade. And as this thing goes, as you see, added up just a little bit, 2 more, better the average up 4987.50. Target still is going to be the gap fill down here at some point, especially for the day. Now, we finally got the 10 SMA loop to push up to the highs. We're looking for a double top, higher low scenario, but they scammed out a little bit further to trap the longs. Again, it's all just a long trap up here. And let's go over some of the reasons that this is going to fall here. We're going to come back to here, and you can see right now in the divergence, we are extremely extended, and we've been diverging for a long time on the minute chart here. RSIs are completely overbought. I said it was going to bounce here at that 50, bounced at the 50. We got that further little scam exhaustion, which is fine. And the MAC has been crossed for an hour now since back here going to the backside. So we got tall sell waves, and you notice just nothing is selling. So this is the exact same scenario as pre-market yesterday, where they forced up with the buy algorithm. All you got to do is flip on the buy switch on the market, and they scam it up. It rides the 10 SMA until they're ready to click it off, and then it'll come back down and fill the 49.73 area gap that we have. So right now, worst case scenario is it holds like a random 50 SMA. Again, should have 0% probability to do that at the moment, but we've seen deeper scams and funnier scams play out. Notice the VIX here as well. We have actual downside noted on the VIX. The MAC is actually straight spread still, so this is actually still bullish, even though the extension on deviation, like we covered in the last few videos, especially on YouTube, does not like to stay outside of -2. So we're coming into that -2, so the VIX has a possibility to bounce, but the MAC is not ready yet on the 5-minute to bounce. RSI is a little iffy, but should still be able to play out here accordingly. But you see that VIX, the VIX just went green pop right there with the market. So you can see the manipulation between them. It's very easy to see the 5-minute charts in the VIX when they start to roll with the market. So it goes up with the market, market pops with the VIX. That's just the standard algorithm scam. It plays out literally on a weekly basis. We've seen it 10 trillion times. So right now, we have, 50 SMA random hold. Again, there's a 0% chance that this should hold here. And worst case scenario is the 5K move. So we will come back down to fill that fill eventually. And then for now, we'll just keep on keeping on so we can get the better average. Because you notice right now all the divergence, this is manipulation scam. When I told you guys I was going to ride the 10 and keep pushing, when the 50 catches up, it usually gets the last blip on the 50, tries to break highs, we'll crack it, then we'll use it all the way down to the 100 EMA, and then potentially, even further. But again, the worst case scenario is if they have those buy algorithms on to scam you to 5K. So we got another 9 points to go. But either way, your stop out should be above 5K a little bit, and look for the bear indicators. Right now, the dollar has a really good cross, but it's not obviously affecting anything. We're getting scammed. And the VIX is not ready quite yet for that short, so no big ads. Still waiting. All right, guys, to finish the completed trade, as we were talking about, 5,000 and above for live trading. That was my stop out. You can see the entries right here. This is where my start was. Add point, add point, add point. Like I said, I'd probably add all the way into 5K and above, 5 to 5,005. Target is still going to be the gap fill way down here for the day. And I know it seems very far away and crazy, but all gaps on ES intraday have seemed to fill. So right now we are rocking 7 ES. We've traded 15 total. We've added on, and you can see all the markers there. We're up a little bit over $1,500 times 6. So we got the roll here on the lower high. We got the shorted confirmation. And now we're just looking for the clean house back to back testing 200 SMA 1 minute, and obviously 666 in the gap. So that'll complete the trade green, and that is it.